The Bible's prophets were black and African. From Moses to Jesus, from Egypt to Ethiopia, their African roots have been hidden for centuries. Before we reveal the proof, hit like, follow, and share. It's time to reclaim the Bible's true legacy. Get ready to see the Bible's African legacy like never before. The first is Moses passing as an Egyptian. Let's start with Moses, the man who led the Israelites out of Egypt. Did you know he passed as an Egyptian? In Exodus 2:19, he's mistaken for a native of this black African civilization. Ancient Egypt was a powerhouse of dark-skinned people, a fact backed by early historians like Herodotus, who described Egyptians as having dark skin and woolly hair. Moses wasn't just passing through. He was raised in Pharaoh's court, blending into a culture rooted in African heritage. The second is Zephaniah's father being Cushi, a prophet whose very name ties him to Africa. Zephaniah 1:1 tells us his father was Cushi, a name directly linked to Cush, the ancient kingdom in what's now Sudan and Ethiopia. Cush was known for its wealth, power, and wisdom. Zephaniah's lineage wasn't just a detail, it was a mark of pride, connecting him to a legacy of black excellence in the ancient world. The third is Solomon's bride declaring her beauty in the Song of Songs. Solomon's bride proudly declares, "I am black and beautiful." Found in Song of Songs 1:5, her words in the original Hebrew celebrate her dark skin as a symbol of beauty and strength. This isn't just poetry. It's a powerful statement of identity, showing the deep African connections woven into Israel's royal circles. The fourth is Jesus hiding in Egypt. Even Jesus has African ties. Matthew 2:13-15 tells us he hid in Egypt as a child to escape Herod's wrath. Picture this, a Middle Eastern family hiding in Africa, and they didn't stand out. Why? Because Egypt's people shared a similar complexion and culture. Jesus' time in Egypt wasn't just a stopover, it was a place where he could blend in naturally. The fifth is the Ethiopian eunuch as the first Christian convert, and the New Testament, the first Christian convert, wasn't from Rome or Greece. It was an Ethiopian eunuch, a high-ranking royal official from a powerful African kingdom. Acts 8:27 describes him as a man of influence, baptized by Philip. This wasn't random, it shows Africa's central role in spreading Christianity from the very start. The sixth is historical and scientific evidence. The evidence goes beyond scripture. Historians like Herodotus described Egyptians as dark-skinned with woolly hair, and recent DNA studies link the Canaanites, key biblical figures, to African ancestry. This isn't guesswork, it's science and history confirming what the Bible has been saying all along. The seventh is Jeremiah. Jeremiah 13:23 asks, "Can the Ethiopian change his skin or the leopard his spots?" This verse proves Ethiopians were known for their dark skin in biblical times, a trait so distinct it was used as a metaphor for something unchangeable. Far from being unusual, dark skin was a normal, accepted characteristic in the Bible, celebrated as part of Ethiopian identity. The eighth is Genesis 10:6-7. Genesis 10:6-7 lists the sons of Ham: Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. These aren't just names, they represent African regions and peoples. Cush is modern-day Sudan and Ethiopia, Mizraim is Egypt, and Put and Canaan tie to African territories. This shows that the Bible's earliest lineages were deeply rooted in Africa, not elsewhere. The ninth is the Nile River's centrality in Genesis and Exodus. The Nile River, the world's longest, flows through the heart of Africa, not Europe or the Middle East. It's central to Genesis and Exodus, shaping the stories of Abraham, Joseph, and Moses. This African river was the lifeblood of biblical events, tying the patriarchs to the African landscape in a profound way. The 10th is the Ethiopia's frequent mention in the Bible. Ethiopia appears over 40 times in the Bible, not as a minor detail, but as a respected, spiritual, and royal kingdom. From the Queen of Sheba to the Ethiopian eunuch, Ethiopia's presence shows it was a powerhouse in biblical history, deeply woven into the narrative. The 11th is Egypt as a sanctuary for biblical patriarchs. Egypt was a sanctuary for the Bible's greatest figures. Abraham, Joseph, Moses, and Jesus all lived in or fled to Egypt, not because it was foreign, but because it was familiar and powerful. This African nation was a safe haven, deeply connected to their stories and identities. They erased it from art. They buried it in tradition. But now, the truth is rising again. The Bible's roots are Black, African, and undeniable. If this shook your view of history, don't keep it to yourself. Drop a comment below. Do you believe the world is ready to accept that many biblical prophets were Black? Why or why not? Like this video if you learned something powerful today. Share it with someone who needs to hear this.